The lights flickered once, then twice, and suddenly, every screen in the room went black. The floor of Skyverse Technologies, a leading AI company in the heart of Silicon Valley, was plunged into chaos. Dozens of employees jumped from their seats, keyboards clattered, and voices rose in confusion. But none of the panic compared to the face of CEO Daniel Royce, who stood frozen in front of the main control panel, his heart pounding in his chest. He had just finalized a deal with an international client, a contract worth over $200 million. The servers were uploading the secured data, live AI simulations were in process, and the board of directors was watching remotely. Now the entire system was dead. Backup. Get the backup online. Daniel yelled, turning to his CTO, whose pale face said everything. It's not just the mainframe. The backups are looping. It's like, it's all been overwritten, the CTO stammered. Daniel clenched his fists. This couldn't be happening. His reputation, the company's future, and thousands of employees depended on those servers. His dream, everything he'd built from the ground up over 15 years, now dangled on a thread. While top engineers scrambled, Daniel's thoughts raced back to his late father, who died fixing outdated computers in their garage. "Don't ever panic, Danny," he used to say. "A calm mind fixes what a worried heart can't." But calm was impossible now. No one knew what had caused the crash. There were no signs of malware, no hack alerts, just a clean wipe that made no logical sense. Hours passed. People whispered. Some sat hopeless, others ran code checks over and over, but the result was the same, nothing. Downstairs, in the utility corridor, a young boy around 14 sat on a bench beside a mop bucket. His name was Emilio. His father, Raphael, had worked the night shift at Skyverse for 7 years. Every now and then, Emilio would come by after school to wait for his father to clock out. Raphael never allowed him upstairs, saying, "That's not our world, son. That's where the geniuses walk." But Emilio was no ordinary kid. For years, while his dad cleaned offices and hallways, Emilio would sneak peeks into coding manuals left open, take photos of diagrams on whiteboards, and even practice coding on discarded terminals in the basement. No one noticed. No one cared. He was just the janitor's kid. That evening, though, something was different. Raphael noticed the unease in the building and finally asked a technician who was rushing past, "What's going on upstairs?" "System crash. Total blackout. CEO's about to lose his mind." Emilio stood up. "Is it the servers?" he asked softly. The tech scoffed. "Yeah, kid. The kind of problem you can't fix with a YouTube tutorial." But Emilio had seen something similar in the manuals upstairs last week. A pattern, a flaw in the AI integration model they'd recently adopted. He didn't know exactly what was wrong, but he had a feeling. "Can I try?" he asked, looking at his dad. Raphael shook his head. "No, son. This is way out of our league." But desperation makes the powerful listen. The CTO, hearing the boy's voice, turned around. "You know something about this?" "I think so," Emilio said. "If I can just access the core logs and reroute the code from base memory." The room burst into low laughter. Some of the engineers smirked. "A janitor's kid? Really?" But Daniel, who had exhausted every other option, raised his hand. "Give him 10 minutes." The room went silent. The CTO hesitated but nodded. "All right, kid. 1 terminal. You've got 10. With trembling fingers, Emilio sat down. As he started typing, the atmosphere shifted. His small hands moved with precision, not like a child experimenting, but like someone who knew. He bypassed the main GUI, dove straight into the kernel lines, accessed logs that even the engineers had missed, and found what he suspected. A recursive loop error that had overwritten all system paths by trying to solve itself endlessly, something only someone who had read the original AI logic scripts in detail could understand. Then, with a few carefully written lines, Emilio built a command to halt the loop, restore from a hidden shadow cache he'd found in a buried drive, and reinitialize the data with reversed redundancy. The lights flickered. Monitors turned back on. One by one, systems restarted. The AI reloaded. Project files came back. Backup servers rebooted. And just like that, Skyverse came back to life. There was a long silence before the entire floor erupted in cheers. Engineers clapped. Some looked stunned. Others ashamed. Daniel slowly walked over to Emilio, staring in disbelief. How did you know that would work? Emilio shrugged shyly. I've been learning from what you all throw away. The CEO knelt beside him. What's your name, son? Emilio Vega. Daniel smiled. Emilio. Would you like a scholarship? Full ride. Any university. And after that, a guaranteed job right here, starting as an intern today, if you want. Raphael's eyes welled up with tears. His son, the one he told to stay away from the geniuses, had just saved them all. That night, after most had gone home, Daniel sat alone in his glass office. He stared at the skyline, thinking of all the resumes he'd discarded for not having Ivy League names, all the handshakes he'd missed because he never saw the people behind the janitor uniforms. He realized his entire company was built on innovation, but he'd forgotten the most powerful innovation of all, belief in the unseen potential. Meanwhile, in the dim utility corridor, Raphael looked at his son, who now held a company ID badge, and whispered, "I was wrong. You do belong upstairs." And Emilio, with tired eyes but a glowing heart, just smiled. "We both do, Papa. Because sometimes, the brightest minds come from the darkest corners. And sometimes, the system needs to crash, so a new kind of genius can walk in. One you never expected. But one you'll never forget."